Good day, spiritual seekers, from Celestial Medium. The world feels like it's teetering on the edge. Economic collapse, social unrest, climate disasters, technological revolutions. It's as if all the great cycles of history are converging into a single moment. It begs the question, is this the end? Or is it something else entirely? A crossroads, a test, an initiation into something far greater. History moves in cycles. The shifting of the Earth's climate, the turning of economic tides, the rise and fall of civilizations. These are not random. The ancients knew this well. The Mayans, the Hindus, the Egyptians, they all tracked the great cycles of time, from creation to destruction, from darkness to renewal. And now, we find ourselves at the convergence of these cycles, a moment unlike any other, where humanity stands before a choice, a fork in the road of evolution. Join us as we explore this fork in the road of history. Science recognizes cycles just as esoteric wisdom does. Economists track long-wave patterns of boom and bust. From the financial markets to the very movement of celestial bodies, cycles govern the rhythms of both human civilization and the natural world. The sun itself goes through cycles of magnetic polarity reversals, approximately every 11 years. And each shift influences solar activity, from sunspots to solar flares. These bursts of energy affect Earth's atmosphere by intensifying weather patterns and disrupting electrical grids. More concerning is the weakening of Earth's magnetic field and the movement of the magnetic poles. The North Magnetic Pole, which was relatively stable for centuries, has been moving at an accelerated rate and shifting from Canada towards Siberia. Earth's magnetic poles periodically flip, with the North Pole becoming the South Pole and vice versa, a phenomenon called geomagnetic reversal. The exact timing is unpredictable and occurs on average every 450,000 years. However, the last reversal occurred around 780,000 years ago, suggesting we are overdue for another. Some scientists believe this process has already begun. Spiritual teachers and scientists alike have theorized that these solar conditions are creating an environment where we are being thrusted into a time of extremes. So, what does this mean for us? First, climate instability. The magnetic field plays a role in guiding jet streams and ocean currents, and as it shifts, weather patterns become more erratic. We are seeing storms intensify, wildfires increase, and once predictable seasons become unpredictable. Second, technological disruption. The Earth's weakening magnetic shield means greater exposure to cosmic radiation, which can interfere with satellites, power grids, GPS navigation, and even airline communications, perhaps leading to airplane monitor and equipment failures. Scientists warn that a geomagnetic reversal or a strong enough solar storm could wipe out electronics on a massive scale, causing an event similar to the Carrington event of 1859, when a solar storm disrupted telegraph lines worldwide. If such an event happened today, the consequences could be catastrophic for our modern technological infrastructure. Esoteric wisdom has long taught us that the sun is more than a provider of light. The shifting irregularities of weather, seasons, and varying sunlight exposure significantly impact human emotions, potentially leading to mood swings, fatigue, and even seasonal affective disorder. Perhaps because sunlight exposure boosts serotonin, a hormone associated with mood and alertness, while reduced light can lead to lower serotonin levels and increased risk of depression. Renowned yogi and mystic Sadhguru speaks about the predictions of a coming rise in consciousness. He theorizes that in the coming years, dynamic changes will happen caused by solar flares. Whenever such changes happen, phenomenal changes can happen in human consciousness. The sunspots will create volatile energy, which causes volatile behavior in those susceptible to it. However, he cautions that any volatile situation is also a possibility to use this dynamic energy for positive purposes, stating that we can either rise or crash. Sadhguru argues that if we can create enough people who have the focus and spiritual strength, human consciousness can definitely rise significantly. Some schools of thought promulgate that the sun is the logos of our solar system. It holds the blueprint to our beingness. This logos represents the heart of the cosmic pattern and the source of existence. Its emblem is the sun, which is the source of life and light. For the Greeks and Romans, the invincible sun was the master of all nature, creator and preserver of men. If this is true, such erratic shifts in the sun or logos could wreak havoc on us at a physical and spiritual level. But there is another force at play beyond our sun's cycles and Earth's erratic climate, one that has shaped the rise and fall of civilizations throughout history. Just as the climate shifts, so does the economy. Economists have long studied the Kondratiev wave, a long-term cycle of economic expansion and collapse that typically spans 50, 60 years. We are currently witnessing the downturn of this cycle. High inflation, rising debt, and growing instability in global trade. And at the center of it all is an escalating tariff war. Throughout history, when economies reach a breaking point, nations often turn inward, raising tariffs and restricting trade. Tariffs lead to higher consumer prices, supply chain disruptions, and economic stagnation. We've seen this before. The Great Depression was worsened by protectionist policies like the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, and similar patterns led up to the 2008 financial crisis. Now, history is repeating. Inflation is rising, wages are struggling to keep up, and global tensions are leading to economic warfare. These are the symptoms of a collapsing old order, an economy built on unsustainable debt, resource exploitation, and short-term gain over long-term stability. Corporate-driven consumerism has massive psychological effects, not just on people, but on our planet as well. We are constantly bombarded by advertisements telling us we need more of everything. Rapid consumption, expansion, and toxic consumerism endanger everyone as humans inundate the world with so much waste it is unfathomable. And now corporate America is taking over. Corporatocracy is an economic, political, and judicial system controlled or influenced by business corporations or corporate interests. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse warns that corporations of vast wealth and remorseless power have moved into our politics to seize for themselves advantages that can be seized only by control over government. Corporatism is capitalism's evil twin, identical in its external form, but the polar opposite in its internal beliefs and underlying principles. The core tenet of capitalism is a free market. Corporatism is a market that is managed by corporations, not for the people and by the people. Well, this is where we are. The question is, what comes next? As economic instability rises, so too does conflict. Throughout history, war has always followed economic collapse. Nations compete for dwindling resources, and leaders use war as a distraction from internal crises. Today, the world is once again on the brink. Wars are erupting, tensions are escalating, and the drums of division are growing louder. However, war is not only fought with weapons. It is fought through ideologies, through identities, through division itself. Across the world, we are seeing rising racial, religious, and political polarization. People are being separated, not by their essence, but by artificial constructs, borders, beliefs, skin, color, class, creed. This current state of divisiveness is being fueled by ignorant or purposeful disinformation. Government-controlled media is most certainly on the rise across the globe. In fact, we are seeing it right here in the United States. Algorithms programmed by divisive AI are force-feeding you what they believe you want to know, or worse. They are force-feeding you only information or disinformation they want you to know. This too is cyclical. Every great civilization that collapsed did so from internal division before external conquest. Now, as we approach this great crossroads, this division is intensifying. Why? Because we, as a society, are being forced to make a choice. The chaos we see, the wars, the divisions, the extremism, is a catalyst. It is designed to push humanity toward a defining moment. Do we continue down the path of fragmentation and destruction, or do we choose to rise beyond it? To see that race, religion, and nationality are illusions compared to the oneness of the human spirit. This is the great test of our generation. Everything happening right now, the economic turmoil, the climate shifts, the wars, the division, it is not a random series of crises. It is a pattern, a cycle, a moment that has happened before, but never quite like this. Because for the first time, humanity is fully aware that we're at a crossroads. This is not just about politics or science or philosophy. This is about the soul of our species. The choice is before us. Do we continue down the path of the love of power, where greed, control, and division lead us toward collapse? Or do we embrace the power of love, where wisdom, unity, and higher consciousness guide us into a new era? This is not just a decision for governments, for corporations, for leaders. It is a decision for each and every one of us. Every thought we think, every action we take, every time we choose love over fear or truth over deception, we are shaping the direction of this planet. Sometimes civilizations fall in order to be rebuilt, better and stronger on a new foundation. Buddhism teaches that everything is impermanent and subject to change, including the cycle of life, death, and rebirth for individuals and civilizations. This understanding of impermanence can lead to a perspective where destruction is seen as transformation, a natural part of the process of existence and not necessarily something to be feared or avoided. So, this begs the question, is the world ending? The truth is, the world could end any day. Its timeline is constantly being rewritten. Luckily, in this moment, each of us holds a pen. And the story that will be told, the future that will unfold, is determined by one thing: what choices we make. The phrase, "every generation thinks it's the end of the world," is a common observation, highlighting the tendency of each generation to perceive its time as unique and facing unprecedented challenges. The future is inherently uncertain, and each generation naturally worries about the potential consequences of their actions, inactions, and the world they will leave behind. However, in the here and now, the cycles are converging. The test is here, but the power is in your hands. If the world is ending, then the only question that remains is, what will we do with the time we have left? Will we cling to fear, division, and control, repeating the mistakes of history? Or will we rise, awaken, and take our place in the unfolding destiny of a higher consciousness? This choice is not for the distant future. It is now. It is today. If you believe we can rise above division, if you choose the power of love over the love of power, then share this message, open this discussion, and be part of the awakening. Because the future is not written in stone. It is written by us. Thank you for joining us. Stay awake, my friends.